Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I am here with the Read Doris tag. This is a tag that was created by Sean of Sean the Book Maniac and Britta of Brittabola, and this is all about celebrating our very own Doris of all the books. Today it is currently Doris's birthday, however I'm not sure when I'm going to get to upload this, so at the time of recording it was still the anniversary of Doris's birth and a reason for us all to celebrate the great booktuber and overall person herself. I can't actually remember when I first discovered Doris's channel, or did she discover me? I don't know. Either way, we've been commenting on one another's videos for a while now. She is one of my favourite booktubers. She's one of my favourite people. She has a unbridled enthusiasm for everything, really, for cats and for books, and she is just a rather brilliant, awesome, amazing, fantastic human being, and I do not think there are enough synonyms in the world to describe just how much she is adored. I suppose we ought to get on with these prompts. Also, firstly, happy birthday, Doris. I hope that you are having an absolutely marvellous day. Many happy returns, salutations, that other word that's to do with happy birthday. So firstly, the prompt is D is for Doris, a book written by and or about a Doris. I could give a very self-aggrandizing, shameless self-promotion here, but I won't do it because this is all about Doris's birthday. And so I went on a search for finding a book that was about a Doris, and for this I went with Diamond Doris by Doris Payne, and this is a non-fiction memoir that is apparently soon to be a major motion picture, and I believe was released either in September or October last year. I don't know how they're doing the date on here, but apparently this is a memoir about the world's most notorious jewel thief, and this Doris is 87. I don't know whether it's true. I don't know anything about it. Apparently this Doris Payne wrote this with somebody called Zelda Lockhart. Just reading this for you now. This person stole jewellery a lot of the time. And so, Diamond Doris. O is for Outside Your Comfort Zone, a book you've read or want to read that was, well, outside your comfort zone. And for this, I am going to go with Christine by Stephen King. And I read this book last July, and I'm not one for reading, well, I wasn't a person who read from the horror genre previously, but having read a certain amount of gory thrillers, I decided to read this book. And I discovered that sometimes horror fiction isn't as scary as it likes to make out, and you can sometimes find scarier things within fiction. R is for recommended, a book, topic or theme Doris featured on her channel that intrigued you. Tell us all about it and the books you've read or want to read thanks to Doris. I cannot think of a singular book for this prompt. Oftentimes I will watch Doris's videos and I will say to her that she's mentioned a book that I want to read. It sounds like something that I would enjoy, and I add it to a list, and I don't currently have that list with me. It's written in one of my several notebooks, but books that stick out in my mind that I still haven't read, but I always think of Doris when I think of these books, are the books of Bianca Murray's and the Marilyn Robinson Gilead books. When I think of Doris, I think of those books, despite the fact that I haven't read them yet. But yeah, there is an entire list of books that I have said that I'll read. I don't just do it with Doris, I do it with everyone, saying I want to read that, or I'm looking forward to that one, and I still haven't got around to reading them because that's the type of person that I am. I have a lot of imaginary lists in my head of books that I ought to read but I haven't read yet. I is for Indeed. She's crazy about cats and bees and ... A book about cats or bees or any other animal, or notably featuring them in the story and or on the cover. I thought about if cats disappeared from the world, and obviously I believe that this would be a complete trauma to Doris. When I read that book last year, it seemed incredibly philosophical and was just a type of weird read that I enjoy. I'm not necessarily sure whether it's Doris's sort of thing, but I recommend it. And if you haven't read it already, go out and read it. It's a relatively short book, and yeah, this guy discovers that he has a bit of an incurable disease. And so the devil keeps coming to him and saying, well, you can remove this from the world and you'll get an extra day, and you can remove this and you can remove this, and you can see where I'm going with this. Also, while searching for an answer to this question, I found a book by Doris Lessing, because Doris Lessing was one of the writers I was going to mention for the first question, and this book is called On Cats. And apparently it is a celebrated classic, and it talks about Doris Lessing's love affair with cats. And so she's talking about all the cats she's ever owned and her relationships with cats. And so that one's mentioned here as well. In terms of bees, I would recommend a book that I read by none other than B. Wilson. I believe it was called The Hive, and that talked about the history of man's relationship with bees and how we used to worship them and how we feel about them nowadays. There are so many books about bees out there, and it warms my heart. And yeah, I adore bees. Doris adores bees. I don't mind cats so much, but I am allergic, so I often watch Doris's videos quite jealous of the fact that I could never own another cat. Unless it was hairless. Does anyone know any hairless cats? S is for Skyrocket, a book you think Doris might like and that you want her to read. Let's get that Tower of Doom up into the stratosphere. Doris has actually inspired my own Tower of Doom, though it's nowhere near as impressive as hers. And it's this entire dressing table is now filled with books that I have yet to read. But I'm not going to mention any of them. I am going to mention And After Many Days by Jawa Ile. I don't know whether Doris has read this book yet, but this book discusses family. It's set in Nigeria after a young boy goes missing. His brother ends up getting blamed for this, and it goes and discusses how the family respond to the missing child and the grief that comes from that. It's a poetic book. It's incredibly great about discussing relationships and has this great, almost nearly revenge narrative. And I think that Doris might like it, because I hope she does, because I keep telling everyone to read this one. Out of all the books that I read, this one's been nearly 2 years since I read it, and it's one of those that I keep throwing in people's faces. And now it says tag a bunch of lovely people. I don't know who else watches Doris's videos, and that's a problem. So firstly, if you aren't following Doris yet, you ought to. Go and do it now. You can open a new tab. You can go and subscribe. You don't need to watch her channel first to find out whether you like her content, because it's a guarantee. And if you don't, I'm not going to lie, there's something wrong with you. If you went into other folks' videos right now, which is the playlist I have where I put all of the videos I've liked, I've included all of the Doris Read Tag videos in there. And so the people that I would tag, who I'd ordinarily think of for this, have already done this. I'm rather late to the game. And also, I don't communicate with a lot of people, if I'm being honest. Yeah. It's just who I am as a person. I don't really communicate. Okay, all I'm going to say is, if you're watching this video, whether or not you know Doris at all, you are tagged. Do this. Help us celebrate Doris's birthday in the best way possible by celebrating her as one of the most fantastic human beings on this planet. Get it done. It's only 5 prompts. You can do it on your tea break. So please, do this video. If you need to say you were tagged by someone, say you were tagged by me. And that's all I'm going to say on that matter. I hope that whatever you're doing today, Doris, you're having an absolutely marvellous time, because you do kind of deserve it. And I hope that this video didn't bore you too much. Until next time, that is all.